Hey everybody, and welcome to Aniki, the podcast about anime's two brothers. I'm Ben.
And I'm the strongest. I did air parentheses with my hands, but audio medium.
So, any anime-related news this week?
I did finish Happiness 2.
Oh, how was that?
It's still real intense. It's a lot slower of a burn than Aku no Hana, but it is very intense.
It doesn't look that intense just from the covers, you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, it is.
It's about vampires.
You know that author.
I guess you can't tell us how it's intense without giving anything away.
Yeah.
So last week we thought that maybe this week we could go through the anime chart for the season.
We can. It looks like a whole lot of not great.
Yeah, I'm not too impressed by this season.
There's like nothing that looks interesting at all.
No. Like,
actually at all.
So there are only a couple that are worth pointing out of how many are here? 3, 1.
I mean, they're not very many. This is usually the shortest season, so 8, I guess there's still some shows left over from
11.
fall. Those are kind of worth saying. I
mean,
mean,
there are 34 shows or 34 series.
There's Iron-Blooded Orphans 2 and Tiger Mask are still going on. Those are supposed to be pretty all right.
Yeah. So from the list of new shows, there is a new season of Blue Exorcist.
Super lovers, I know, right? I'm so excited. I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't want to be the one because I know how excited you are about it. I wanted to let you bring up Super lovers, and I'm glad you did.
I mean, it is about two men who tap deeply into their hearts and souls and such.
That's true.
Yeah, the only things that look really even somewhat interesting are there's a new season of Blue Exorcist, which my wife really likes.
Really? Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to hate anybody for liking Blue Exorcist. It's very like shonen and generic, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I mean, Naruto was good for a good number of seasons before it went on to just terrible.
Yeah, I didn't see too much of it. It did seem pretty formulaic, but
I've heard the animation's pretty high quality in it, which is good.
It was. What I saw was pretty high quality. I mean, all the characters are pretty copy paste from any other shonen show. So
yeah,
but
I mean,
some
it's
people
not
like
supposed
it,
to be bad. It's just one of those shonen.
Of note, there's a new Chaos Child show because the world clamor for it.
Now hold on. While I don't actually mind the semicolon series, Chaos Head was terrible.
That seems to be the consensus. I did not watch it because I heard that consensus.
Terrible. So why in the world they would like greenlight a sequel to that one? I have no idea, because that one was terrible.
Well, judging by the cover here, it's that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heroines.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah, the original one was like that too, and that's what made it terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever this Acca is looks kind of interesting. That's kind of
Acca. Yeah, the cover art looks interesting.
Not as interesting as the cover art of this thing down here, this Youjo Senki. I imagine since it's based off a light novel, it's probably not very good, but that's a very interesting looking cover.
Yeah, I was going to get to that in a minute.
I wonder if the animation can back that up at all.
Yeah, the Acca thing, just going off the cover, it looks interesting. The description, a little less so.
Yeah, no, I know. It almost sounds like almost Magical High School.
It's like, hey, you remember that time we tried to do Fate Stay Night without Fate Stay Night in that, what was the name of that show? The one with the girl who has like a blood sword. It goes on for like 13 episodes and it's really bad.
No.
It's basically that again, it sounds like. I mean, there's Little Witch Academia, obviously.
Yeah, which I want to watch so bad.
Is there anything else? I did like the look of this Shouwa, Genroku, Rakugo, Shinjuu.
I saw that cover too, and I thought that looked kind of cool.
Well, I read the description too, and it seems like it's, you know how they have those series every once in a while that's, hey, kids, this cool Japanese dying art form is really cool. Yeah. You should get into it.
Yep.
Because you did that with calligraphy and farming, and here's one for theater. Why not?
Oh, I mean, that's always kind of cool.
So that might be interesting.
Wait. I recognize these character designs. Who's the character designer on this show? I know these.
Did not look. It is a prequel to another show by the same name. Because this show, this season has a subtitle. I don't know anything about the original either. Creator is Haruko Komoda, and character design is Mako Hosoi.
No, I don't see anything I know there, but those eyes look very familiar to something.
It looked a little Katana Gatari to me.
Yeah, let me see here. Let me see the original creator. No, I don't see anything, so I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot of stuff to his name.
Yeah, most of the show for this season does not look super great.
I guess if you like slice of life romance shows, Seiren is okay looking. It's very
why would you do that instead of Bang Dream, brother?
Bang Dream? You mean Super Lovers 2? Or is there actually a show called Bang Dream?
No, there is a show called Bang Dream. Yeah, obviously. Like, come on. It's a next generation girls band project, so it's K-On again.
It's K-On with 2 more members. Yeah, the only other one on here that really looks interesting is that Youjo Senki.
Oh, yeah, I just watched the little video for it.
Does it look good?
Looked all right.
Take it or leave it.
You could give it an episode or two if you wanted. I don't know if it's on anything though. I'm looking at Crunchyroll's list here for what's on, and they have Acca, and nothing else terribly expensive.
Why does no one have Little Witch Academia? That doesn't make any kind of sense. Everyone wants this show.
No, I think look, Netflix has the others, and if you go to their Japanese website, they're partnered with Netflix. So I think Netflix is going to have it, just not until all of it's out.
Oh,
they're probably not going to simulcast it because they hate us. And they're going to make us be bad boys and do things we really shouldn't do.
Yeah. You streaming sites?
I know, right?
I mean, Amazon gets away with doing a weekly show. Why can't Netflix? Why they have to do the binge thing all the time? I
have heard that Amazon is getting in on this anime biz.
Like making their own or just bringing some over?
Bringing some over.
Really? What titles have you heard, if any?
I don't know. That's about all I know. But what I like about that is they're the only people who are going to have enough money to bring over maybe a Macross if they love us. Because no one else has enough money to bring over
like one of the more recent ones or one of the older ones?
Either, because no one has enough money because of the music.
Oh, yeah.
The music costs $1 bajillion to bring over a Macross, so no one's going to do it. But Amazon has enough money. They can do anything
they have
a
music streaming service, so maybe they could go hand in hand.
No. For your friends?
Well, that's enough of that list. I did promise you some Pokemon names, because I have been playing more Pokemon. Okay, so.
Show me your Pokemans.
I have a Graveler named Tom Waits.
Okay, that's all right.
Well, I have a Stuffle named Russell.
Snuffle. Oh, okay. Stuffle. Why Russell?
Because Russell Stuffers. Stuffle.
Russell Stovers.
Yeah. It's a bit of a stretch, but I liked it.
Okay, yeah, it's not. Yeah.
I have a Fantup named Little Billy.
That's all right.
And that makes sense
because they're dead children.
Yeah, they're dead children that got lost in a forest.
Yeah, that's true.
Really dark.
Yeah, try not to worry about it too much.
I have a Cleffa named Claven.
Aha, that's good. I like that.
Like Cleffa Claven.
That's good. That's good. Not for that.
Let's see. I have an Elekid named Aldrin.
Aha, Buzz Aldrin. Yeah, sure.
Klefki named Peel.
Klefki, Peel, Klefki. I don't get that
Key
one.
and Peel.
I recognize that as a thing, but I don't know what that is.
Haunter named Thompson.
Yeah, that's a common one, but it's good.
Gullwing named DeLorean.
Okay. DeLorean.
Because it got Gullwing doors.
Sure.
I like this one. A Poliwag named Khan.
Okay.
Because once he evolves, he'll be the Poliwrath of Khan.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I had a Rattata, and the Rattata in Aloha has these weird things on his face, so I called him Moustache.
Oh, good. And then he turns into little chubby chubs, and he's the best.
Yeah, I have one of those too. I named him Louie because he looks like that fat kid from the cartoon.
From that cartoon. Only 90 kids get that reference, guys.
Let's see. Only a couple more. I got a Goldeen named Han, which is probably common.
Okay, yeah.
A Yungoos named Donald because his hair looks like Donald Trump.
Oh, it does look like the Donalds. Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, that's pretty good.
And I can't unsee that. And I went through the whole...
No, you're right. Now I'm not going to be able to. You've ruined it for me.
The whole Team Skull thing, like trying to rescue this stupid thing. Like, why am I rescuing Weasel Donald Trump?
Because your boy Guzma.
I guess. I have a Spearow named High. Another Game of Thrones reference.
Okay. Oh, yeah, the High Spearow. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I have a Shelgon named Angus.
Why Angus?
Because when I caught him, he had a mullet.
Okay, I guess.
Angus MacGyver.
Yeah. Shelgon, does he have a mullet?
He does.
I guess. Oh, yeah. No, I see it now. Yeah, I now see it in my mind's eye.
And then I have a Wishy-Washy named Meloncarpy.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
You got a sad face. And then the best one I have is a Meowth. And because it fit, I named him Danny DeVito.
Oh, that's good. You did it. I can't believe that fit.
I was
You done good.
so pleased.
Just wait till it evolves into that, like, the Alolan Persian, which is amazing.
Is it weird looking?
Oh, golly, is it?
So you know the Danny DeVito reference, right? So for those who don't know, there is a screenshot of a Tumblr post where someone suggested a live-action Pokemon movie where Danny DeVito plays Meowth. Not like in a costume or anything, but no one acknowledges it.
Yeah. Well, I remember because they're going to bring over the Detective Pikachu movie for whatever reason. And people want Danny DeVito to play Pikachu. So I know that. So
That's weird. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably the funniest thing I've seen out of the whole Pokemon stuff, because I can just imagine Danny DeVito walking around like he does in It's Always Sunny, just going, Meowth, that's right.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Well, you got anything else before we launch into our last episode of One Punch Man?
I mean, the only other major thing would be the fact that I've finally been dabbling in 5th Ed, D&D.
Really? I actually wanted to bring up Pathfinder and D&D 5th edition.
Oh, sure.
But
okay, well, let's go ahead and have a bit of a chat.
sure. I'm actually playing both of those at the same time right now.
Yeah, they're both good systems. They both do different things.
So you are more versed in Pathfinder than I am.
I'm pretty versed, yeah.
And I'm probably at this point more experienced in 5th than you are.
Sure.
What do you think moving from Pathfinder to 5th?
Well, we just did that with my campaign, but that's because everybody. It turns out that like only one other person had any experience with Pathfinder whatsoever. So it's sort of Pathfinder's light. It's sort of kids first Pathfinder in that it's easy to move up or down between the two systems fairly easily.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have a more specific question, or
I just wanted to
they
hear
both have their
impressions
pros
on
and cons? Pathfinder is a lot more complex, but it has a lot more depth to it. It has a lot more rules, so it's a little more gamey than 5th Ed. 5th Ed leans itself to role-playing, especially in combat.
Yeah.
A lot more role-playing combat because it's such a loosey-goosey system, where Pathfinder has it a little more locked down. 5th Ed, since it simplifies a lot of its stats and skills and gets rid of base attack and stuff, it can make it so your characters are going to be a lot more samey in their stats and skills. That doesn't particularly matter. There's a lot of systems where characters are going to be like look at World of Darkness, where characters can be almost identical and be extraordinarily different. Yeah. So that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, we've been playing 5th for about I want to say 6 months, I think.
Yeah, it's a good system. I like what I see of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've played 4th before, so I was a little hesitant because 4th was pretty.
4th is bad.
Pretty template-y.
It's a good game. It's a great game.
Yeah, it's
bad
good
for
if
role
you just
playing.
want to do something like on a Friday night and you don't want to think about it too hard. 5th, I like because, like you said, it is like Pathfinder light.
Yeah, it's very loosey-goosey. I like it.
And you're right, it really does help the role play, especially in combat.
Yeah, because it doesn't have attacks of opportunity on a lot of stuff. I like a lot of what it did with its spellcasting system. I think its spellcasting system is very good.
No, it's a lot easier to understand.
Yeah.
You don't have things like combat maneuverability bonus or any other kind of weird stats you have to keep track of.
Yeah, but at least that's sort of helpful. Grapple rules, they finally fixed grapple rules in 5th Ed by just making it like the most rudimentary thing you could possibly do.
Yeah.
For better or worse. That fixes the problem, but it doesn't make it easy to do stuff like trip people.
The only problem is, and maybe this is just problem with these classes in general, but melee classes, their combat gets really repetitive really quick.
Yeah, I have heard that complaint.
Even when we started at 5th level and we're already at, I think, 7.5, and it's really repetitive. which is okay, but you spend most of the campaign getting to the combat, and then once you're there, it's like, okay, well, I could do these other actions, or I could just spam damage, which makes more sense. Hit it a bunch. So I'm just gonna hit it a bunch.
Yeah.
And then we started a new Pathfinder campaign last week, which is a lot lighter on roleplay, which may just be our group. But the combat is
very robust.
Yeah. You can do a whole lot more stuff with it.
Yeah, but the downside is that it has rules for all of that more stuff.
Yeah, and they get kind of really like in the weeds.
Yeah, that can happen. You gotta watch out for that.
And it's
like
weird.
5th Ed, its system is so loosey-goosey by design that if anybody wants to do anything wacky in the combat in 5th Ed, it's usually pretty easy to fudge it, but there just aren't any rules for it. And that's an upside and a downside sort of thing. Yeah. But it's an easy thing to sort of fudge because of the way it does contests and actions and roles. It's a lot easier to figure out how to fudge it.
Yeah, I was talking to my friend who's doing the DMing for this Pathfinder thing, and he actually admitted he doesn't really like Pathfinder that much. But I asked him why, and he's like, well, there's just so much stuff. I'm like, but honestly, if you cut it down to the core books and compare those against the 5th core books, it's kind of comparable.
Yeah, they're very similar.
The problem
One's
when
more
people
advanced.
say, I want to play Pathfinder, they're like, oh, well, you have the core books and then these other books, and you also have to use Unchained, and you have to use these other things. And by the way, we're going to use these weird rules, and you have to remember all that. Also, you have to have this giant online database of magical items, because if you don't have that, you might as well screw yourself.
I mean, to be fair, every role-playing system has that problem when it's been out for as long as Pathfinder has been.
Yeah, and especially since Pathfinder is like sort of open source-ish kind of.
It's open source in the way that 3.5 was, not to mention it's building on 3.5. So, I mean, there's a lot of rules if you want to use them.
Yeah.
We were doing Reign of Winter, and I was just using Core Book, and it was fine, except I found out that, like, no one else that played had much familiarity with the system, so they almost died a bunch because they weren't using their freaking class abilities and spells. But 5th Ed does away with a lot of class abilities and spells, so it's a little easier to know what you're doing.
So there was a new kid on our 5th game last week, and I think he's like 13 or something, and he came in and he went from no knowledge at all to having a character sheet fully filled out, 7th level, in about 45 minutes. Of course, it's not hard. That's with help. I mean, he needed help, but for Pathfinder, we've had people who have played role-playing before and know what they're doing, and it still took them hours, and they still needed to use a tool to do it, like PC Gen or Hero Lab.
Okay, so they're just bad at making character sheets, to be fair. Of course, then again, I have been making like 3.5 and forward.
Yeah, I mean, our group is pretty diverse.
You have some
guys who play Pathfinder every week and have done for years. You have guys who just love optimizing, and you have guys that are like, I want to play, but I don't want to work at it.
Yeah, I mean, that does depend, because if you want to get the real like twinks, they will go to great depth to find the ways to maximize the character, and that can take a while.
And I mean, if he wants to do that in his own time, fine. It makes things more hilarious. But the problem is a lot of people, when they come to Pathfinder and want to get more people in, they get really excited and want to tell you about all of that stuff that doesn't really need to be there.
Yeah.
And I think 5th
the genius of 5th Ed is the proficiency bonus system that just gets rid of it gets rid of the BAB, it gets rid of the saving throw bonuses. It just condenses all that into
just
one number.
Nice flat number that applies to all the things.
Yeah, which is really handy in some regards, but it's kind of a blunt instrument in others. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just sort of what it's doing. It's using that as a blunt instrument to make it easy to level up and sort of see what a character's doing. Mm-hmm. It makes it so at most you only ever have to add like 2 numbers together. The advantage-disadvantage system is really smart. And the fact that the whole spell system in 5e is very good. I like everything that's going on with it.
I did find one problem with the advantage-disadvantage system. And if you're bored by now, you can skip this. But we were playing, for some reason, like the rogue, if somebody is engaged with an enemy and it isn't the rogue, then the rogue always has an attack of opportunity, no matter what. Makes sense.
That's handy.
That makes sense.
That's powerful.
But I was a paladin, vengeance paladin. Sure. And I Misty stepped, which is essentially Dimension Door with like 50-foot range, behind an enemy who is engaged with somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, I swing at him. I get an attack of opportunity, or I get an advantage on this, right? He's like, nope, you're not a rogue. I just teleported behind his head. How do I not have advantage on this?
Well,
but
to be
because
fair,
I'm not a rogue.
At that point, it's your DM screwing you rather than just being like, because like the advantage disadvantage system. Okay, so here's what you do. Your DM should say, "Oh, that was clever. You now have inspiration," and you're like, "Okay, I now use the inspiration to give myself advantage."
He would do that if we didn't have two bards that just sort of hand out inspiration to everyone.
Well, yeah, but that's a different kind of inspiration.
Well,
that's the additive die rather than the advantage disadvantage inspiration system. Yeah. Either way, like, come on. If it's clever, just give somebody advantage. Who cares? You're playing a game.
In his defense, he is playing a table with like 11 people at it. So,
oh yeah, then you should probably just play by the rules. And
which I did. I was like,
for the amount of expediency,
sense,
just be like, okay,
I'm just going to go ahead and roll with this. But really,
yeah, that's because flanking doesn't exist in 5e. So life's hard.
It is. It's very hard. But I'm still the damage spammer. That's my job.
That's what you do.
So speaking of damage spammers.
Yes.
Let's spam all the damage with one punch.
Now that we're like halfway through the episode and we talked about D&D like a bunch of nerds.
That's fine. So we open this week's episode and final episode of One Punch Man straight into the brawl. Right in the melee.
Right into Brawly?
Actually, kind of.
Yeah, I've got Brawly on my screen. Are we watching the right show?
I mean, his power is maximum. It says here
he's the king of all Seons. Am I saying that right? Seons?
Something? What? So yeah, the guy who's, man, now I about said Broly. Boros.
We did it. I did it.
So Boros and Saitama are going at it, and Boros is on the offensive, and I really like...
so kind of.
Well...
They're kind of going at it. That's what I love the most about this fight.
That Boros is going full tilt offensive, and Saitama is just sort of running backwards.
Yeah. Saitama, like, never, like, really even tries to hit him. He's just like, oh, this guy's strong. I'm just going to sit here and defend for, like, the next, 20 minutes of episode.
And he does a very fine job of it. Although here at the end of this particular scene, he does throw a punch and just take Boros' arm straight off.
Yeah. I mean, Boros does dodge, which is nice.
He's like, wow.
I'm not sure that part is in the comic. I think in the manga, it's literally just Boros trying to hit Saitama and doing it pretty effectively, all while being like, haha, this is a super good fight. You are such a good fighter. And like, Saitama's doing nothing except blocking and dodging.
Yeah, just sitting there.
He's not being offensive at all, which I really appreciate.
And he's like, wow, I have unleashed my ultimate power and you are still keeping up. Saitama is like, you're pretty strong too.
Yeah, you're strong, bro.
You're all right.
Yeah, bro.
This is pretty good. I like it.
You do even lift. You did it.
He did. So we cut down to under the ship with City A and Tank Top Master.
Tank Top Master.
Who's down there and is kind of annoyed that Tornado is getting the upper hand on throwing stuff at the ship, because you remember last time she threw a lot of bullets at the ship.
That is true. In the comic, there's a bonus comic at the end. So volume 7 is mostly this fight, but that's only about half the volume. The rest of the volume is a bunch of little bonus micro episodes, and one of them is Tank Top Master being very upset that he was beaten by psychic power and him training harder to do that.
I mean, he is mostly muscles and a bit of tank top.
He is muscles poured into a tank top.
But yes, he is very annoyed that psychic power is beating straight muscle. Plus, it's a little girl, and that kind of grates on him. So he picks up a giant chunk of debris.
Oh, debris.
And lobs it at the ship. And it hits. It does a pretty good job.
You know, I've always wanted that. I always wanted him to be nominated for Secretary of Defense.
Oh? Yeah,
General Debris. He's a little helter-skelter, though. He's a little all over the place.
Oh, my goodness.
What, General Debris?
Yeah. Thank you, President Pun.
Yeah, I do what I can.
So, Tank Top Master, having thrown this bit of debris at the ship and being very pleased with himself, suddenly is lifted. And not just him, but a giant piece of street that he is standing on, plus a bunch of buildings and everything else with a green glow surrounding them. By Tornado.
Yep, it's Tornado being like, hey, bro, would you mind getting off the debris? I'm going to shoot at the ship. He's like, oh,
So she just starts throwing the city at the ship. And all the aliens inside are like, oh no, what's going on? We're all going to die. This planet's too tough.
Chief among these aliens inside is Newman.
Newman, I want to go home.
He just wants to go home so bad.
That's all he
Poor
wants.
Newman. He was supposed to have a happy time here on Earth. He was just in charge of shooting the bullets.
He had a nice life. Probably with a wife and kids back home.
Well, he's not dead yet. Don't kill him off early.
We cut down to Genos and Child Emperor, who's a spider now.
Yeah, I love these spider legs. I like Child Emperor. I want to know more about his story. He seems cool.
I like the fact that we don't know anything about him, and his backpack keeps turning into these ridiculous things, and no one questions it. And he's very nonchalant about having spider legs.
Well, I mean, why would you not be?
Yeah, it's just a thing I do. Sometimes I carry myself around with spider legs. So we do get a thing between Genos and, was it Robo Knight? Drive Knight.
No, this is not Robo Knight. It's very important.
This is Drive Knight.
Yeah, Drive Knight.
Who decides that, well, since Tornado is handling this now.
It seems like everybody's got this covered. I think it's time for me to go home.
I have some shopping to do. But on his way out, he turns to Genos and is like, hey, you know something? Metal Knight. He's up to no good. He's your enemy.
Yeah, he's your techie. You're techie, man.
Be careful.
Actually,
Oh, you didn't do it.
Metal Knight is his.
He told him to be careful.
Yeah. Oh, you'll be dead.
There you go.
Oh, shoot. I almost missed it. You're right. Oh, man. Terrible.
You're losing it.
And those guys were in Rogue One, too. Ah, shoot. Terrible. Still had his arm. He was an architect. He didn't say any of those horrible things. Have you seen that Robot Chicken sketch with them?
Oh, yeah.
It's very good. I'm very for it. All right. Well, we cut over to Melgazar or whatever his name is. Super gross, fleshy boy.
And our samurai dude, who is still going to town, slicing this guy up, looking for that jewel or something.
I guess.
You just can't get it. You just can't find it. But he is slicing the ever-living crap out of this guy's arm. And the dude laughs.
Because Melkazar or whatever is basically making his arm into a sword. And then there's this really sweet animation of Atomic Knight dodging all of these swords getting thrown at him while cutting all these swords in half. And he's very good.
What I really like is right after that when Melazard laughs at him, because suddenly like the frame rate of animation just shoots up and you realize, wait, this is the last episode. That means all the remaining budget.
Yeah, gets to go into this.
This is going to be amazing. Of course it is.
And behind him, as he laughs, shows up a shirtless, very hot Silverfang.
Oh, man.
He's like, oh, man, I finally got that crick out of my shoulders.
He's enormous. Because we've never seen him up to this point without a shirt on. And he has muscles on top of muscles.
I think he's actually my favorite of the guys from the Hero Society. I mean, he's designed to be like the one cool guy in Hero Society, but still.
Uh-huh.
He is written as the one cool guy from Hero Society.
What I like is, like Saitama, he doesn't really show his true strength until right here, where he stabs his fist right through the guy's head and smashes the marble, killing him once and for all.
Because after he shows up, Atomic Samurai does his patented Atomic Strike, which basically cuts Melgazar into atom-sized pieces of himself with his sword.
Yeah.
And that allows Silverfang to find the gem in a tornado of fleshy bits going back together.
And then in a bit of camaraderie, Atomic Samurai is like, hey, I only needed one more swing, man. Silverfang is like, well, I got to do what I got to do. And besides, I really need to do more full body workouts. I'm getting a little old.
Yeah, just a little old.
It's like, man, a lot of modesty going on here.
60 years young, that Silverfang.
And that means, according to Pooty Pooty Prisoner, that victory is ours.
Yeah.
Which it is down here.
These guys actually killed this guy all by themselves. No Saitama help, not even help from Genos.
Hooray.
They like legitimately won this one. And that guy was like an Oni. That guy was definitely a dragon level threat all on his own. That guy was tough.
Oh, yeah, he was. Unfortunately, that ship is still up there, even though it's getting the crap blown out of it by Tornado. And I guess to some smaller degree, Tank Top Master.
And Moomin Rider's here too.
Yeah, he's still here.
He's helping to save survivors from City A.
Still.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, and by ranch, I mean Boros trying to hit Saitama.
Which he does. He does land a lot of punches on Saitama.
Yeah, it just doesn't really matter.
No. I mean, he gets thrown through all these pillars and gets embedded in another one. He's like, whatever.
I was just having a derp face the whole time.
But holy crap, the animation in this fight sequence is
so good.
So amazing. Things blowing apart in super comic book style. I love it.
I love how a lot of parts of the ship, when they break, not these pillars, but in other parts of the ship, when they break, they go into like weird cubes just to sort of show the sort of alien construction of the whole thing.
I like that.
It's very cool.
And especially when they blow apart in like fire, it's very like not manga, but like magma, like comic books style. I really like it.
And when when Boros is punching Saitama out of the ship, they get sort of wrapped in this part of hull, and you just see this thing of hull with bigger dents getting put in it while like energy fire comes out the bottom. It's really awesome.
It's very nice.
This whole fight is great.
So Boros decides to even more unleash his ultimate destructive power.
He's saying that out of all the beings Boros has ever fought in his long life of killing ultimate beings, no one else has ever survived this long. Now, do keep in mind, Saitama has still not fought back after that initial one punch to the armor. Oh, and I guess the punch for the arm.
Yeah.
So he has punched Boros a total of 2 times.
Yes, and both of them weren't really serious. Well, maybe the first one was. We don't really know.
Well, Ben.
Yes.
Neither of them have been serious punches yet.
That's true.
We know that because we may get to see one serious punch here. And
Boros
it's serious.
Teleports behind him, as you do, and sucker punches him in the side of the head. And Saitama freezes. And Boros declares victory for himself, saying, "You are a worthy opponent, but the outcome is clear."
He is right about one thing.
The outcome is clear. It's in the title, man.
Yeah, did you not read the name of the show?
And then he gives a big long backstory about how his species was brought up in very hostile environments, and so they had to get regenerative abilities, and of those creatures, he was the strongest, and blah, 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 blah.
Literally blah, 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 because Saitama's like, dude, are you done? You just keep going on and on. Can you please stop? Which
really rattles Boros, because he thought that he was dead.
Because he's going all out on this guy. Not quite yet, but he's going pretty to the wall on this.
And all Saitama's gotten now is a crick in the neck and almost a serious face.
Almost. Not quite. He's still having fun. This whole fight is like a cat and a mouse, where Saitama is 100% the cat. And he's just like letting the mouse like have his run around before he like strikes.
So Boros powers up even more for his meteoric burst.
Well, but right before that, I think we do need to take a step back, because Boros' whole idea here is that, like, look, he has super regenerative powers, and to show that off, he regrows his arm, and he's like, dude, Saitama, I love you, Boobula, you're great, but here's the deal. I'm just going to heal all my wounds, and you're just going to get more and more injured. So really, I mean, we already know who's won this one.
Serious.
For Sears.
So he powers up. His very skin emanates energy. And he goes in for the killing strike, his meteoric burst. And as he hits Saitama, the shockwave from behind it just incinerates like 50% of the ship. And all the poor monsters that are still inside.
Oh,
who just wanted to go home.
Lackeys. They just want to go home after all this.
Saitama even survives this. So much so that Boros keeps going after him with even more strikes, and the animation gets even more amazing.
Yeah, he basically machine gun strikes him, but with like wicked power.
Everything about this particular scene is phenomenal.
Very good. So they not only do they do like some gross pans, but the sort of energy waves, you know how you do like energy attacks and DBZ and stuff. They do that. But his zipper rounds are again very reminiscent to the spiral patterns in particle maps.
And the way that the ship takes damage from all of these blows is great. Like they melt.
There's a great still shot in here right before he knees Saitama in the chest. That's just great. It's like 1 or 2 frames
where he like grows monstrous.
You just tell it's painted. It looks a lot like, the ending of Mob Psycho where they did the sort of paint on glass. It looks very similar to that here for a couple frames. And I wonder if they even did that.
They probably did. So he knees Saitama right in the chest, and Saitama goes a-flying and lands in what appears to be some concrete until they zoom out.
It's the moon.
He's gone right to the moon. Pow, right in the kisser.
Yeah, right to the moon.
What I like about this is now that he realizes he's on the moon, he holds his nose like he's underwater.
Well, yeah.
It's so cute.
I mean, you don't, it's bad. You can't breathe in space, Ben. That would be bad. Space is dangerous. You don't want to breathe that in. You don't know where it's been.
I mean, all those space jellyfish might be in it.
Yeah, all that's
space.
Gross. Yeah, it's bad. I'm pretty sure he landed on the ruins of the Moon Kingdom. Right next to him is Usagi getting some like sweet information from her mom.
That would be fantastic if they had made that reference. So he's about to take off, but then he realizes that the gravity here is pretty low, and he spends some time throwing a rock up and down because that's fun.
Well, I think they did that because in the manga, what it says, what he says there is he thinks to himself, "Oh, it might be hard for me to jump back from here." But he's like, "Oh yeah, the gravity is way lower on the moon," and he thinks that internally. Where here they do that visually by having him like pick up the rock and toss it, and then his sort of the light bulb goes on in his eyes, and he's like, "Oh yeah," like he's getting the feel for how much force it's going to take him to get back. I do kind of
like the idea that he's about to jump, and then he just thought this was fun. This was a fun thing.
Well, he just does that nod, though, after he pulls up the rock. And then he puts a new crater on the moon as he jumps back.
Yeah, a giant crater on the moon.
You know that one time Piccolo blew up the moon? Yeah, that.
Pretty much that. So we come back to Boros, who is talking about how doing a meteoric burst puts extreme stresses on his body, and similar to anaerobic exercise.
In a very JoJo-esque aside. But he's like, it does take years off of my life to use this, and I can only use it as a trump card to settle fights like this quickly.
I do like his character design here because his body has gone full white. Even his eye and like this jewel thing like stuck in his chest. And outward from that is this grotesque pattern of black lines going all over his body. I really like it.
I like what they did with his hair, where they really have been treating his hair like Super Saiyan hair, because now they Super Saiyan Gen 3. His hair's is really long.
Oh yeah, it did get longer. But it's also become as white as everything else. So it's like become part of him.
Yeah, and he has no mouth at the moment, which is going to be important here in about a second and a half.
So suddenly, who should land next to him but Saitama? And
he's
as
like,
he does,
whoa, dude.
The
I can't believe that
whole
worked.
ship starts listing to the side, and everyone's like, wow, awesome, Tornado. That's a really good job. And Tornado's like,
you've been doing?
That's new.
I've done this thing.
So we cut back up to the top of the ship, and I like Boros' eye because it's gone to that little tiny dot.
He's like, what? And Saitama climbs out of the crater he's created on the ship and is like, oh, sweet, I made it. I landed right back where I came from.
Nice
I
shot.
got good aim.
Yeah, Boros cannot believe it. And he's like, this man, I must end him. I will go all out. And he makes one last charge.
He starts ramping up his charge, running towards Saitama, and then Saitama just,
he's like, nope, time for a punch.
Yep.
And he punches him right in the jewel.
Patented one punch.
Which throws Boros all the way across the deck of the ship and
causing him to gasp out of a mouth that forms because he needs to gasp this hard.
Yes, it basically tears the skin in front of his mouth. Saitama unleashes a great
combo,
which is consecutive normal punches.
And completely annihilates Boros' body.
Except for his eye.
Just completely misses it, except his eye.
And did you notice behind him in the city, very far away, craters just appear out of nowhere?
Oh, absolutely.
It's great.
Parts of the ship get annihilated because they were behind his normal consecutive punches.
And Boros pulls himself back together like his lieutenant did real quick.
Yep.
And was like, no, I shall unleash all of my energy all at once, which will blast you and the planet to hell. Deal with it.
Spoilers, he deals with it.
All this energy is melting the ship and the ground and all this dark energy. He has become one with the void. And he calls out collapsing star, roaring cannon with some amazing animation behind that.
Oh, yeah, again, just all pencil lines on white backgrounds. Oh, it's good.
It's nice.
Just glorious.
And he fires at Saitama, who declares, in that case, I'm using my final move too. Killer move. Serious punch.
And he punches the roaring cannon back at and through Boros.
Which splits the energy beam in two.
And the atmosphere of the planet Earth.
Yes. I like this shot because even though it's like this giant matte painting of the Earth from orbit with this giant gash across all the clouds are still moving backwards. Very subtle.
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
We even get a shot of a prairie and just a couple millions of miles away, just a breeze has formed because of this. And the giant like energy orb in the ship cracks.
And then we get back to Boros laying prone on the ship, like just most of him is gone. His eye is gone
at this point.
It's kind of gross. Remember Genos from a couple episodes back? Very much like that.
Yeah, very similar like that, yeah.
He's like, did I actually lose? Whoa.
He's like, yeah, pretty dead. I'm surprised you're still conscious there, Boros. He's like, good. That means at least the prophecy was true. That battle was hard fought.
So Tom's like, yeah, it was a pretty good fight. And Boros is like, you're a liar. You had strength to spare. It wasn't even a battle. I lost before it started.
I mean, he's not wrong. Just goes to show you about prophecies, huh?
Yep.
Just
don't trust Cthulhu-looking men.
Or women.
Who are
beasts.
Murmuring stuff over glass spheres. And speaking of glass spheres, the one inside the ship breaks. And we get our title card.
The strongest hero. I do like how Boros says that Saitama was too strong. Because even poor Saitama kind of knows he is too strong.
He's far too strong for his own good.
But at least he did this time. He saved the planet. Because he's the strongest.
Well, unfortunately, since the power sphere is broken and Lord Boros went wild, the ship is now falling to the ground and all the poor creatures trapped inside are falling.
Including Newman.
Who just has this great look on his face in this still shot. Of just,
He wants to go home anymore. Mama.
Poor guy.
He just looks very dejected. He wasn't even supposed to be here today.
So all the heroes start running for HQ before this giant ship falls on them.
Puri Prisoner uses another signature move, his Angel Dash.
Angel Dash!
Where he just runs at normal speed.
He does make it a great face when he does it, though.
He does. Dash you!
So yeah, the ship crashes. Giant mushroom cloud. Everything is over. The fight is done. The day is won.
The episode's not, though. We just cut to a commercial break. Which I believe is Saitama's one punch. His serious
punch. His serious punch. That's hard to say.
Serious punch. Yeah, you're right.
So we come back from the break. Well, we have the worst guy in the world.
Oh, you mean My Mask?
My Mask is back. I don't know why, but here he is because he has some things to say.
I think he's the villain for the next arc. I think is why
it really seems that way. He's kind of a jackass. Remember that guy from a couple episodes back, Deep Sea King, where the dude was like, "Hey, if they were real heroes, then nothing would have gotten smashed up." Basically, a My Mask is that guy.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. Only a hero. Quote unquote.
Yeah, I really don't like this guy.
Well, you're not supposed to like him.
But basically, he starts ragging on all these S-class heroes who almost got killed by this giant demon thing.
Well, it's because he they let this town get destroyed, and that's not beautiful or utsukushi at all.
And,
nor is that justice.
It's not justice. Basically, he is a super lawful good paladin who cannot take it.
Yeah.
And everyone has a problem with this. Like, Pretty Prisoner's like, hey man, that's not cool. And Silver Fang gives him a look. Atomic Samurai gives him some excuses.
Because he's also like, dude, you let the city get destroyed. And they're like, yeah, but like literally the ship showed up and blew up the city within like a millisecond of both of these things happening. No one could stop it at all. You're being unreasonable. Whose side are you even on? He's on the side of justice.
And the best part here is the only guy who's willing to say like no political nonsense at all is Shonen Bat.
Yeah, because Shonen Bat's awesome. Like, look at him.
And he gets up in his face with that typical like high school gangster bloodshot eyes and everything.
He Konogakis this guy, like hard.
He's pretty great. A My Mask says, you want to know why I'm not an S-class hero? So I could stay at the top of A class and make sure that no riffraff get into S-Class where I don't want them to be.
Like you, Shonen Bato.
Which is kind of weird because he is an S-Class hero, so...
Yeah. Well, he was there before a My Mask showed up, I think. I think that's sort of what you're getting at here.
So while they're having this discussion, suddenly a capsule falls from the sky, and out of it steps a giant robot.
Well, it's not giant. It's robot-sized robot.
Who happens to be Metal Knight.
Woohoo.
Enemy or not enemy?
Well, at very least, he's going to reroute your internet, so he's your techie. See, because that's Japanese for enemy. You see what I did there?
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
techie.
Just making sure.
More puns.
Like, I don't know how you do.
So Metal Knight is here to salvage the ship and take everything out of it that could be used to make a new weapon.
Yeah. I mean, that seems safe.
His philosophy is peace through superior firepower.
That's not a bad philosophy. It worked well for the Empire.
It works.
Mostly, yeah.
So the heroes go and find a bunch of aliens from the ship who are all tied up.
Including
Newman.
But not limited to Newman.
And are waiting something to happen. But probably not what actually happens.
Yeah, which is a My Mask interrogating them. And by interrogating, I mean chopping off all of their heads.
Because he's literally the worst.
Well, he does it for justice.
Because, they did not deserve to live. They were evil.
I mean, to be fair to a My Mask, Newman did blow up the city.
I mean, he did. But then again, when you break into an orphanage that is nothing but pickpockets because they're ruled by a king of thieves, when you go kill the king of thieves, you don't normally kill all the orphans too.
What, are you saying they were just following orders?
I'm saying they were just following orders. They were just there for a
who else
paycheck.
was just following orders?
Who was it?
Nazis.
I thought you were going to say, like, Darth Vader.
No.
He was also a Nazi.
I mean,
He's Space Nazi.
Space Nazi Wizard.
That's even worse.
Oh, that's a good name for the episode. Space Nazi Wizard. For one short reference.
So My Mask is all like, yeah, I just wanted justice. I'm sure you'll understand, Genos, right? Since you and I are bros or something.
Since we're bros. Though, to be fair, I've been watching you since you were an S-Class hero, and so far, you've been a disappointment.
Oh, no.
Shove your head up your butt, a My Mask.
I think Silverfang is a much cooler hero to have the respect of than a My Mask who showed up after the fact, complains about stuff, kills some prisoners of war, and then walks away.
Ben, he has an excuse for why he didn't come sooner.
Well, he was shooting a thing.
He was shooting a drama in the next city over.
Yeah, and he heard some tremors, so he came over when he could.
Yeah, after filming.
Very busy.
Well, Genos does say that a My Mask reminds him of himself before he met Saitama.
Yeah.
Like a man on edge.
And just
too eager to eliminate evil.
He's out for vengeance against someone.
Justice. But wait, where is Saitama anyway?
He's inside the ship. So Tornado is hanging out outside the ship, still sort of perplexed as to how the whole thing fell down, because she didn't do that, but she's not going to tell anybody that.
And then Spadoosh.
Out from the ship, punches.
I like how surprised
Saitama.
He is. He's like, oh, like that was finally the last one. I am now finally out of the ship.
Hooray! I made it. So Genos runs up and is like, hey, you made it. You're all right. Everything's okay. Did you beat their boss?
Yeah, he was the strongest. Maybe the strongest I've ever faced.
And they just start walking away, ignoring Tornado.
Where we get a sweet bit of art with Tornado.
Well, I like her face here because
it's very good.
She gets really annoyed that they're ignoring her.
Well,
she's completely ignoring the fact that they are talking about how Saitama just beat that dude.
Well, I mean, that's
and
not
took
that
down
important.
the ship. And she starts getting angry, like, "Hey, how'd you even get on that ship? I don't know how you did it, but you shouldn't have been on that ship. You're just a B-class
hero. You should have asked for permission." And then she starts calling him all sorts of great names, like Kneecap and Baldy and Boiled Egg.
Avocado, Light Bulb.
Yeah. Like
Genos,
a teapot.
Genos, say something. You got my back here, bro, right?
He Konogaki's Tornado, and Tornado just shoves him into a rock. Using her telekinetic powers.
Before he starts this attack on Tornado with Saitama behind him, cheering him on.
Yeah, you do it. You tell her. She just shoves her into a rock, and she's like, dude, I'm older than you are, Genos. Shut up.
We
This freaks out poor Saitama, and he's like, dude.
Poor Genos.
But, yeah. Silverfang at least comes to de-escalate the situation. I like how everyone respects Silverfang, except probably a My Mask, because the My Mask is terrible.
Well, he's a wizened old man.
He is.
He knows.
Saitama goes to try and get Genos out of the rock, because Genos is all bit in all the wrong ways, and starts pulling at him, and his arm pops off. He's like, oh.
It's a good scene.
We'll get that fixed,
I like that.
Genos.
It's a good gag.
We'll get you fixed. It'll be okay.
So we get some...
True denouement.
Yeah, some wrap-up.
Denouement.
With... over time, everyone sort of forgot about the city getting destroyed. And
Metal Knight did, in fact, scrap everything.
And then rebuilt
and used it to
the headquarters, even bigger and better than before.
With roads going everywhere, so...
and apartment buildings for all the heroes A-class and above.
A-rank heroes and above. So they can dispatch heroes wherever they're needed as fastly as possible. That's right, as fastly as possible.
I like the giant moat they built around their big fortress. Like one of those giant... monsters will care about the giant moat that they've built.
Well, the smaller ones will.
Except for all those roads.
Hush, they're like drawbridges, it's fine.
So then we get our end credits, which tastefully pan up over a giant memorial to all those in City A who lost their lives in the battle that ensued.
Yep. What I like about that is that it's actually not that many.
I mean, there are a lot, but yeah, not like millions.
I wonder how they managed that. They were just underground. The buildings are built in such a way that even when they collapse, they leave very obvious pockets.
Probably. I mean, they have built cities.
They do live in Monster World.
Yeah, with all these monsters running around. So speaking of, after the credits are finished.
I love this.
Suddenly we have a zombie patchwork pig who looks like some sort of Frankenstein's monster who's enormous.
He's Plutonos.
Pluton, king of the underworld.
Aha, Pluton, king of the underworld. He's very cartoony. I love it. It's like a giant zombie patchwork porky pig with a pitchfork.
Yeah. He's a threat level dragon, turns out.
Yep.
Of course, he's going through a whole thing about how, you humans are
greedy,
the worst, and I'm here to
terrible to cull your souls and to,
Yep. And Genos comes in and saves a kid who's about to get crushed. And he's like, oh, who's this? And Genos says, just a great man who's a hero for fun and a prophet.
Woohoo!
A great man, you say?
Kersplort.
And his disciple.
Yeah.
And this guy gets one punch in the head. With pork chops flying everywhere.
I do love that. How the meat of him do form like perfect pork chop shaped pieces.
And as Saitama lands, he looks at his fist in anger. Back to one punch again.
just back again to one punch. He was so excited.
And with that, One Punch Man, for now, is over.
Yeah, I think it's next season. Next actual like real world Earth season is season 2 of Saitama.
Yep. So, of this episode, what was your best?
What was the best? I guess it's got to be the whole Boros fight, right?
It has to be. There's no question. I mean, the whole series was building up to that fight.
Yeah. A best moment of that fight is definitely the serious punch.
I liked that. I liked the whole, like, subtle clouds movement and just all of it is the best. What was your worst?
Worst? My mask?
Definitely.
I mean, he is the worst. So
what a punk. Plus for being that guy. I hate that guy.
Yeah. He's bad.
And for MVP?
Bad. MVP. Huh.
You're allowed the obvious if you want.
Genos?
Really? Genos?
Yeah. He stood up to Tornado for Saitama. And he did take that sweet get knocked into a rock and basically crushed to death. And then he stood up for Saitama again against Pluton.
My MVP was Saitama. Because I've been avoiding doing that all series, and I figured might as well do it once.
Saved the day. Yeah, I mean, come on. He saved the Earth from a threat level kami. So, I mean, doesn't get much more heroic than that.
So, overall, what are your thoughts on the series?
Well, it's really good. It's really well done. It is more animation showcase than anything else, but that's not a bad thing at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was one joke done over and over again, but it was done so well that you can't really be that mad about it.
I really like the fact that you know what you're going to get just in the title. And it is that one joke, but there's so much intertwined around it that it never gets old, and they keep doing it in a different way each time.
It's true. They do.
And I really like that. And they still have a bunch of development, even with Saitama.
It's true.
Throughout the series.
Some of the arcs are a little overly long, but it's not too bad.
Well, I don't think there was a single arc that was more than 2 episodes.
No, I just mean like for the concept of the arc. Sometimes it would be just slightly too long, but it would be hard to cut it down without making weird episode lengths.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely 2 thumbs up.
Oh yeah.
Really great show.
You can't go wrong with it. If you want something just fun to watch, they'll do it.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't watch this show other than maybe
unless you
all
don't like fighting anime.
Yeah, or all the
shonen
blood and the glops.
Guts.
It's not as bad as some other shows. And it's hilarious. So, we have concluded another series of the show.
Yep.
Oh man, now what are we going to do?
I have no idea.
Me either.
Especially since next season, winter season, looks kind of bad.
So, if you guys out there listening have any suggestions for a series to do, we are on the lookout for maybe a 13 episode series to do.
Yeah.
Again.
I mean, 13's good. It's good length.
Let us know via Twitter or Facebook.
But what I like about doing 13th series is it means it's only 6 weeks of work for 13 weeks of content.
It's great. I love it.
It's fantastic. I'm a huge fan.
I am too. Holy crap. A lot of editing.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to worry about that part.
You don't. Good for you.
I don't.
So yeah, if you have any suggestions, let us know. Thank you all for listening. Tell your friends. Leave us a review on iTunes or
yeah, you can do that.
Whatever you got to do. Barring anything else, we'll probably be back in 6 to 8 weeks. Watch Twitter and Facebook for the announcement of when we'll be back. And again, thanks for listening to Aniki.
See you next season.
See ya.
Bye-bye.